Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. on the Central Time Zone, as I get to ride home with you like we've been doing for 21 years. Definitely appreciate your patience with this show. You can find us on television two different ways. You can find us on Abundance Television, which is found worldwide on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, also in the Huntsville, Alabama area. You can find us there as well. Charter Communications, channel 182. You can find us on the radio. Yeah, we're on the biggest country station in South Carolina, WZLA Radio, and the podcast on thenewscasters.com. Continue sending email. I treasure every one of them. That's Donna at donnasedge.com, Donna at donnasedge.com. A lot of you have been waiting on this interview. You've been wanting me to talk to this guy for a long time. His name is Jared Hudson. You're a candidate for U.S. Senate, so let's talk about that. So you've got a great life. Oh, by the way, thank you so much for your service.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and I appreciate you having me on today. And quickly before we start, because I know people are listening, you've been doing this for 21 years. That's what he says.
Yeah.
What has been the shift in technology and how you've been able to reach your audiences for 21 years? I just want to hear that really quick.
Oh, I love it.
Because it seems like there's been a big growth here.
Oh, it's been huge, because when I first started, I hated doing remotes. I hated it because I had the camera guy, we had the lighting guy, everybody had to come, and those guys are just a little bit temperamental, by the way, but I found the way to their heart: cooking. So I would have cookies and brownies and stuff ready for them, and they were just ready to do.
I mean, that's the way to every guy's heart, though. You know, that's what my wife and my girls do for me.
That's why my husband married me, because I'm a good cook. That's the reason. I even put a little bit of ham behind my ear. He loves ham, so just a little bit of ham juice will do it, ladies. That'll do it. But you can find us all kinds of different ways. But Jared, it's so good to meet with you today.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you got a good life. Why are you running for office?
That's the $1 million question, right? That's a great question. So the biggest thing is you're right. I got a good life. God has blessed my wife and I tremendously since I left the SEAL teams. Became a law enforcement officer here in the state of Alabama. Still a law enforcement officer here at Blount County Sheriff's Office as an investigator and a SWAT deputy. I'm also a task force officer with Homeland Security, primarily working child exploitation. I've got great bosses on that side. I enjoy what I do on the law enforcement end, but my full-time job, I do that to keep my credentials active. My full-time job is running my company, the Shooting Institute. I still teach for military and law enforcement, still teach for the SEAL teams, teach them how to shoot, teach them how to do close quarters battle. But then the other side of it's Covenant Rescue Group, our nonprofit that combats human trafficking, and that's where we spend most of our time. So it's very law enforcement in nature, and we primarily focus on individuals who are buying and selling kids. So those are the things that I've been doing since I left the SEAL teams. And I really enjoy what I do. I love my wife and my girls. I get to spend a lot of time with them. But the Lord opened the doors for me to be able to run for this U.S. Senate seat. And it wasn't something that was on my wife and I's radar. But ultimately, we looked at it and I thought, all right, what kind of man am I if the opportunity exists and we don't at least try? So that was about 10 months ago from today that we went ahead and fired it out there. We spent a lot of time in prayer over it and said, okay, we're just going to see what happens because we believe this is what we're supposed to do. And the reason behind it is the position of a U.S. Senator is neutral in nature. It takes on the face of the person that embodies it. And the position of a U.S. Senator is a force multiplier. Now, a force multiplier on the SEAL teams is a belt-fed machine gun, right? So I can turn one SEAL into 4 SEALs if I give him a belt-fed machine gun. I give a bad guy that same belt-fed machine gun, and what happens? They wreak a lot of havoc on us when we're in combat. The position of U.S. Senate is the same way. It's neutral in nature, but it's a force multiplier. You can either do a lot of good with that position for the people of Alabama as a senator from Alabama, as one of 100 for the people of the United States of America, or you can do a lot of bad. And I think for far too long we've had career politicians that climb a ladder to serve themselves and have done a lot of bad for us. And so if not me, then who? It's time that I step in that place, if the Lord opens the doors and gives us the opportunity, so that I can be a force multiplier for good, delivering for Alabama, delivering selfishly for my girls, right, for my kids, and delivering for the United States of America. So that's why I'm running for the U.S. Senate.
Well, let me ask you a question. Okay, and I've heard a lot of great things about you. I'll have to tell you that, okay?
Well, good.
And but there's something about a newcomer, somebody who has never been in public office before, and you're running against someone who has actually been in office for, it feels like a lifetime. And I'm not bashing, great guy. I'm just saying people are hearing it's grassroots. People want to hear somebody real, somebody they can feel like they can talk to, and have you over for dinner and
just
maybe
a regular,
talk about what just a regular person.
Just a regular guy. No, you're hitting the nail on the head, and that's one thing that we've seen across the state of Alabama is in this grassroots movement that we've been working on really for the last 10 or 11 months. I said 10 months a minute ago. I think it's actually 11 since we announced. It was at the end of May. For the last 11 months, we have been going to every county. We've been meeting with people where they're at. And Alabama is a big state, right? And so there's a lot of miles to cover. But with only about 5 million in population, it's not like some of these states, like Florida is around 20 million people. So you can truly go to every county and almost touch every person in the state of Alabama and say, this is who I am, this is my message, and it really resonates with people. And the thing I always start with is that I'm a believer, I'm a Christian. In Alabama political season, you always got to qualify what that means. I'm a 2 Corinthians 5:21 Christian. I believe that Jesus became sin. God made him who knew no sin to know sin. Jesus came to this world, took our sin upon him, even though he lived a perfect life, died, rose again on the third day for our sins, and through him we're set free. That's what I believe when I say I'm a Christian. Jesus took on our sin. God made him who knew no sin so that we might be made the righteousness of God in him. I always have to qualify it with that. I'm a true born-again believer in the person of Jesus Christ. He is God incarnate. Secondly, I'm a 7th-generation Alabama family man. We happen to be sitting in the town. My granddaddy's farm is just up the road. My uncle's farm is just up the road. But we're sitting in a town where I originally am from, where I grew up. And so 7 generations really out of this area right here, according to my granddaddy, 7 generations. I was like, God, I didn't know we go that far back. But a 7th-generation Alabama family man, and my wife and I were raising our girls to live in the same great state that we got to live in. And the wise man plants trees, no one will never sit in the shade. And we're planting trees, hoping that our girls one day get to sit in the shade and partake in the same great state and nation that we got to partake in, and hopefully have greater opportunities. So first, my faith is eternal. That's why it's first. Second, my family, because they're my most important job on this earth. And then number 3 is a Navy SEAL sniper fighting war on foreign battlefields against foreign adversaries, as a law enforcement officer fighting crime in our communities, and as the CEO of a nonprofit that stands in the gap for those who can't stand for themselves. These are the things that define Jared Hudson, and that has resonated. My faith, my family, and the service that I've been able to provide is what's resonated with the people of the state of Alabama. And so that has been a message that has spread like wildfire, and we haven't had to put much of anything behind it, which means we've been able to keep all of our powder dry till right now, where it really starts to matter to fire this out at the last month that we're here.
Absolutely, because I've been hearing a lot of things about, and I don't hear that often with the first-time candidate. Very few people does that happen to, but because you're out there and you're talking with them, as a matter of fact, from my neck of the woods, which is around the Sand Mountain area, I've heard you've been out that area a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Some of those folks kind of feel like they're left behind sometimes.
Well, it does seem that way, and I think that I probably would have said that and felt that way even, before I got involved in politics. And it's not, I don't think it's malice a lot of times on these politicians' part. I think for a lot of them, it is difficult to get to everybody and do the job that you're elected to do. However, it's even more difficult to do that if you're seeking the position to serve yourself, as opposed to we the people, right? We the people are in charge of this nation. The Constitution outlines it, right? And we elect representatives to go and stand on our behalf, in this case as a U.S. Senator in Washington, D.C., and make sure that I'm an envoy for the people of Alabama to Washington, so that we can deliver for we the people of Alabama. For you who's out there listening, we're supposed supposed to deliver for you as your representative. It's truly service as opposed to using you to get elected and then using that position for our own self-gain. And I think that's a lot of times what people see, and that's what people are sick of.
I think so too. Let's go into can you believe half the show is already over? Let's go into a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a minute. Y'all hang in there. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. You know, finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to. Good afternoon, Sunshine. Medical Minute brought to you by Dr. Chuck with Lakelands Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. So what is the Beamer? Okay, now the Beamer uses very gentle pulse to electromagnetic signals. This will stimulate healthy muscles and it supports the temporary blood flow. Now let's talk Beamer and circulation support. Now the Beamer gently supports natural circulation in healthy muscles. Now that's what I call natural health. Thank you so much for watching your Medical Minute, brought to you by Dr. Chuck. You know who he's with. He's with Lakelands Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. I hope you have a super duper awesome rest of the afternoon. You take care.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are back. Thank you so much for watching. Come to Twin City Used Car Sales. They're located right here in Gadsden, Alabama. This is a business owner. This guy's a small business owner that is very, very successful. Looks out after his customers. Customer service is absolutely number one. Remember when COVID hit a few years ago?
Yeah.
Everybody remembers that was a nightmare. But when that happened, a lot of folks had lost their jobs, or they were kind of put on short time, that kind of thing. And so Bobby led this revolution for folks, several people in several different counties here in North Alabama, and was feeding people. I don't know if you heard about that or not. Yeah, out of his own pocket. Absolutely. So I got to be involved in those things. Jenny Schaefer was one of the folks. She got to go with as representative in all these different areas, and it was mind-boggling, the people he was helping. And that's what you want, someone in your community who is a leader, somebody that actually looks out for the folks. And I'm hearing Jared is one of those guys. You're looking out for the folks in your area, your constituents, all the folks who are voting for you. But I wanted to talk to you about folks who are not voting. And this really upsets me because my dad was a Democrat, mother a Republican. And even though they kind of in essence canceled each other's vote out, they still voted.
Right.
They did. It was just the thing to do. I thought everybody did. Let's talk with folks who are not voting. Why do they need to come to the table?
Yeah, so the biggest thing, and I'll look at the camera here, so hopefully the people that are watching it, if you're not voting, you don't understand that your vote is the most important thing that you have here in the United States of America. And for us in the state of Alabama, electing your next U.S. Senator. The reason it's the most important thing is because our freedom is rooted in 3 boxes: the ballot box, the jury box, and the cartridge box. Take it from a guy who's been to a country where the cartridge box is the only answer. You want to make sure that you get out and vote your belief system and vote what you believe to be right on May 19th, this upcoming primary. Now, in the state of Alabama, whoever wins the Republican primary, they're going to be your next statewide elected representative. But whoever you get out and vote for, make sure that you get out and vote, because our freedom is rooted first and foremost in our vote. Do not give up the ability for you to make your voice known and elect the officials who are going to represent you in Washington and Montgomery and your district, whatever it is, because there are others who gave their lives. They gave their last breath so that you could take your next and have the opportunity to vote. It's unbelievably important. So please get out and vote. It's one of the most important things that we can do in this nation.
Now, you're visiting everybody. You've been in all the counties, I'm pretty sure. But what are you hearing from the folks, the voters out there? What are they looking for in a candidate?
The biggest thing, especially on my side now, and on the U.S. Senate side, they like outsider, they like warfighter, they like Navy SEAL. Obviously, everybody loves a true born-again believer in the person of Jesus Christ. They love the fact that I'm a family man, and that's all good, because, hey, you've got to sell the voter on you first and foremost, and the only way to get somebody on your team is to be truly genuine. So you're not really selling them on anything. They're looking and saying, wow, this guy's like me. This guy's a genuine guy. So that's the first thing that has really resonated is, hey, just a genuine Alabama guy. On the second side of it is, how can a U.S. Senator impact us in our daily lives right here? And the biggest one we see across the board is affordability. There's a lot of things that we can talk about that people are frustrated with. There's a lot of things going on in this world, but affordability of groceries, energy, and housing in that order. Not only does Poland show that, but anecdotally, me talking to people everywhere I go, those are the primary things they talk about. So as a senator, one of the biggest things that we can fight is the ridiculous Washington policies that have increased inflation over my whole life. These ridiculous policies that increase inflation, increase our overall cost of living, the cost of energy going through the roof, which drives everything else. Right now, diesel fuel at $6 a gallon in Alabama. You better believe in like 2 weeks, we're going to see our groceries go up. Why? Because the shipping costs go up. So making sure that we cut ridiculous policies that drive inflation. Now, one of the biggest things that's a driver of inflation, and we all talk about it, is quantitative easing, right? The printing of money. All right, so that's a problem. But the largest driver of inflation in the United States of America right now, and right here in Alabama, is the housing market. It's a supply and demand issue. Making sure that we get in and we push policies and pass or codify legislation like the Trump executive order that was put in a couple of months ago, where he says, hey, we don't want big corporations, foreign adversaries, to go in and buy single-family homes. Why? Because that's removing a supply off of the housing market. The demand is still high. We have an immigration problem with the scourge of illegal immigration and even legal immigration that's taking the homes that we have available away. So when you have this supply and demand issue, that drives inflation. And now families can't get into a home at a price that is reasonable or affordable for them. And then on the other side of that, even worse, families are saying, or people are saying, hey, we don't want to start a family because we can't afford it. Being a Christian conservative, I'm extremely pro-life, and part of being pro-life, life begins at conception, is also being pro-family and making life affordable so that mommy and daddy can take care of the kids. Making sure that we don't give affordability as an excuse, or make sure that it's not a valid excuse for somebody to choose death over life, because that's one of the things that I hear across the board. So I would say that's the biggest thing I hear is affordability. And as a U.S. Senator, we can tackle ridiculous policies that drive all these costs. The last thing I'll leave you with is energy. One of the things that a U.S. Senator doesn't have impact over is Alabama Power themselves, right? So people ask, hey, what can you do about our Alabama power bill? Well, you have a PSC that regulates that, and everybody's been talking about the PSC in Alabama recently.
Right.
Make sure that you get out and vote for those good representatives that are going to lower those costs across the board for Alabama Power, for TVA, making sure that the end user, the consumer, is not paying as much. But the thing that I can do as a U.S. Senator is make sure that we unleash American energy and end these ridiculous Biden-era policies that push the Green New Deal and all of the things that limited our ability to use fossil fuels, hydroelectric, nuclear, even nuclear power studies. There are so many things we can do to unleash American energy that on the back end will impact you as the consumer, because it's going to decrease the amount that you're having to pay for ultimately your AC in the summer or your heat in the winter, right? And so those are the things that people talk about.
Well, let me ask you another question. This pertains to, I'm sure you've heard of flat tax and fair tax. What are your thoughts about those? Could that be a way of, helping? Because we've got a spending problem. This is just totally unnecessary, and we're paying for things that we didn't vote for as a citizen. And I'm just telling you, it really upsets me.
Yeah, so going at the front end of it, I'll just say taxes across the board. Never seen a society in all of history taxed into prosperity. Anytime you continue never heard of us, but now on the other side of it, the federal government. Let's go to the federal government side, and I think a flat tax is something that's good to look at. But if you look at it across the board, the federal government is supposed to do three things: protect the citizens, the constitutional rights of the citizens, and it doesn't matter if it's from a foreign adversary or criminal enterprise right here in our communities. We're supposed to protect the constitutional rights of the citizens, uphold the God-given rights that have been outlined in our Constitution. That's the first thing: maintain the Constitution, which protects the citizen. The second thing, infrastructure. Making sure that our roads, our bridges, our rail, all of that is developed, right? That's a national security nexus, but that's the second thing for federal government. The third thing, a free and fair market. Making sure that foreign enterprise or even corporations here in the United States of America don't have a leg up just because they're in the system. So those are the three things that the federal government is supposed to do, and you hit the nail on the head. We don't have a dollars problem right now. We have a spending problem. We waste our valuable resources on things we shouldn't waste it on, like Leering Centers in Minnesota. $20 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse go into Minnesota's Somali immigrant communities. Now, these are legal immigrants who are abusing our good nature that was built on Christian conservative values, that was built on Judeo-Christian values, our good nature of the welfare programs we have, which really need to be cut and revisited because they're abused unbelievably. But $20 billion in abuse of those programs to these Somali communities that also has been gone over to fund terrorist organizations that I have buddies currently deployed right now fighting in East Africa, Al-Shabaab. So when you look at that, we are funding the enemies that we have. $40 million a week is still going to the Taliban.
There's no other way to look at that. That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
Funding them.
$40 million a week still going to the Taliban. So I say all that to say, it's not that we don't have money to develop our infrastructure. It's that we need to make sure that we reallocate those tax dollars that are coming from the citizenry to invest back in us here. And in our case in Alabama, put Alabama first. Fix our roads, our bridges, fix our infrastructure so that business wants to invest, so that we're bringing jobs back here, so that we're investing in our workforce education and our workforce participation and not letting these dollars go out all over the rest of the nation or all over the rest of the world and being used fraudulently, or maybe even if they're not being used fraudulently, the question is, do we really want to fund some study in sub-Saharan Africa when we have issues right here in Etowah County, Alabama that we could be funding?
Speaking our language right here. Okay, less than 3 minutes, so about 3.5 minutes left in this segment. So I want to ask you about education. Okay, there are so many tech jobs that are out there, well paying. As a matter of fact, we've moved to a new area in South Carolina. We had a couple of guys came over to the electricians, and I noticed driving really nice trucks, and just well-mannered guys. And they were all had everything fixed, repaired before we could, and at a great cost, by the way. So I asked the guy, I said, well, let me ask you, where did you get your education? He said, tech school.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I got it. And he said, all of my buddies all went to college, which is great. Get your degree. He said, but I was the one who decided I wanted to do the tech job. I wanted to be an electrician. And he said, the funny thing about it, he said, and it's not that funny, but he said, they're paying for that education right now. And he said, when we all get together and go out to eat, I'm the only one who can afford a steak. because he said, I put all my being into being an electrician. How can we bring more education into parents who are looking at tech jobs as being the wrong way? Because people sometimes just have a bad view of a tech job. They're some of the best paying ones out there. No college debt.
Right now, they are the best paying ones out there. So think of it this way. If you're going to spend $100,000 to get your degree, right, as opposed to being able to make $60,000 over that 4 years, or maybe $100,000 over that 4 years, learning to become an electrician in this case, right, the apprenticeship and the journeyman program. And we have tech schools that are out there. There's one just up the road where we're at now at Gaston State Community College, unbelievable tech school. But now you also see the blueprint of these prep schools. So like Baldwin Prep in South Alabama. There's another prep school in North Alabama dealing with cyber tech. So we have prep schools that are for high school age students that do well enough in school that they're able to go and start preparing for that next job. I think that that's a blueprint that we'll start seeing across the board. But the other side of it is making sure that we're investing, bringing those investment dollars back into our community colleges that are pushing the tech schools. We've got great universities. There's nothing wrong with people that want to go to universities, but making sure that we still develop our welders, our electricians, our boiler makers, anybody in any of those industries that we need, that we have to continue to develop our infrastructure. And guess what? Making sure they understand that it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad paying job. I went to the SEAL teams when I graduated high school. So I go to the SEAL teams, and the government, with my GI Bill, was able to pay for my master's in business. But I didn't need an MBA to do any of the things that I've done. Right? And it's the same thing for you out there if you're listening. You don't need a 4-year degree or a 6-year degree. If you want one, that's great. But if you want to get involved in any of the tech programs, any of the trades, those are the things that this country needs. And that's what we've run on for so long. The last thing I'll leave you with, because I know we just have a few seconds left. Right up the road, Old Republic Steel Mill. I had a great-granddaddy that worked there, a granddaddy and uncles all worked there. And they shut down the Old Republic Steel Mill. Jobs went out to other countries, right? Now it's been, see, that's it. Now it's being opened back up because production is coming back. Under the Trump administration, we've seen a massive influx of production back into the United States of America, but more importantly for us, right back here in Alabama. Making sure that we have a workforce that's ready for those production jobs is vitally important, because we're going to see those coming down the line hard and fast over the next few years.
Absolutely. Before we go, how can folks find out more about you? How can they donate to the campaign? And are you looking for folks to help you out with the campaign?
We're looking for help all the time with the campaign. This is a grassroots effort. Go to HudsonForAlabama.com. Like, share, and follow on all the social medias. We would love to have your support in sending a warrior to Washington. And by the way, I ain't some slick-tongued politician claiming I can go fight for you in Washington. I'm a real warrior fighter who's killed people for the nation, and I've stood beside men far greater than me who gave their lives for this nation. I can go fight for you in Washington and not bring the stupidity of Washington back here to you, the people of Alabama. HudsonForAlabama.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being on the show. And thank you so much for watching. And thank you to Bobby Ledbetter with Twin City Used Car Sales for letting us use his studio. How about that?
He did a great job.
Thank you, Jared. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Have a great one. Shine your style at Kiss My Glass right here in the Anderson Mall. There's a place where style meets sparkle. At Kiss My Glass, every piece is handcrafted, custom designed, and made to shine just like you. Owner Beth Gibson brings creativity to life with stunning custom tumblers, gifts, and one-of-a-kind pieces you won't find anywhere else. Look for the perfect gift or something uniquely you, from bold and glamorous to simple and elegant. There's something for every style, so stop by, get inspired, and leave with something unforgettable. Kiss My Glass inside the Anderson Mall, Anderson, South Carolina, where your sparkle begins. Be sure to check out Kiss My Glass on Facebook for updates and specials and gift ideas.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of My Pillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bath bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.